It's Mik'd Up with Mikey Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boy.
He tried to jump up, and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there. He's punching me in the stomach. Like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's doing the team 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Chico can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
The spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her and I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for the show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like, they should
Look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now.
Oh, hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is Monday, May 19th, starting off hot. Lloyd, you don't want to know what Lloyd's talking about off air. It's not relevant to what we're talking about.
Like you started the story too many times.
Not relevant. Yeah, he's told me this a million times. Do you not know my history? Like, yes, I do. We're not going to get into that history because it's pretty disturbing for everybody to hear. We're here to talk sports. We got a big show for you today. Obviously, regular season is over with. The SEC winners are the Texas Longhorns, the outright conference champions for the regular season. Arkansas comes in as the 2 seed. LSU comes in as a 3 seed. Hoover SEC tournament starts on Tuesday. LSU will play the Friday night game against the winner of Auburn and whoever else. We're going to talk about, obviously, LSU seed leading up, postseason play, and what to expect going into Hoover, which is one of my favorite tournaments of the year. Obviously, I think it's, if you go through Hoover, you go through regular season, you go through Hoover, some of the most talented teams, obviously, in the country reside in the SEC. You got to play those guys in tournament play. I think it's extremely fun to be a part of. Before we're not even get to the rest of the headlines, we have the man himself. It's been a couple weeks. Yeah, Thursday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday series for us as a show, selfishly, we don't love because a lot of times, if they're on the road, the team's practicing at the stadium, and we can't have Lloyd's best friend, Coach Jay Johnson, on the show. But they are not. They are not on the road yet. They're at home, and Coach Jay Johnson joins us again. We appreciate you, Coach. Congratulations on a great year. Y'all just getting off the field?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing? How'd you are you just getting off the field? What's this week look like? When are y'all leaving to go to Hoover? I know it's a different format, so I know it's probably prepped a little differently. What's the schedule like this week?
Yeah, we put it in play right after the game on Saturday. We obviously traveled home Saturday night, made the decision to fly home as opposed to go straight to Hoover, which ended up being a great decision that we're not playing until Friday. So
Right.
Happy that worked out. Let everybody kind of have a day off yesterday, which was great. Some guys got in and lifted. Today, we kind of used it as almost like a second day off for the position players. They did lift. And then we had small group work hitting. We feel like we're in a good flow offensively with some guys, so we want to keep that going. And then probably the main event of the day is we had some pitchers we needed to get on the mound to face hitters and some hitters that need some at bats. So we had a good simulated game this afternoon. Some guys threw the ball really well. Some guys took some good swings. And so that was today. Tomorrow we're going to go at 11 a.m. and we'll have, good lunch here tomorrow, steaks, the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And get some good food in the fellas. And then 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning. And then we'll have some more great food. And then hop on the bus and head over, not be in a hurry Wednesday afternoon. And then Thursday we'll practice over at Hoover High.
Yeah.
And then tee it up for whoever we have Friday evening. So it's pretty cool. The whole tournament has to wait on the Tigers. Last team to play.
That's it, Coach. Are you the one grilling? You're grilling the steaks, fillets, ribeyes. You have someone else you cater. You have someone catering it, or are you manning the grill?
Get Wanaka on that.
Wanaka. We're going the simple route. We don't need any food poisoning situations going on this time of year, so we're catering them, having them brought in.
Awesome, Coach. Before we get to before we get to Hoover and talk about kind of what to expect and how you're going to approach next weekend, I want to kind of recap. I know you still have a long ways to go in the season. This is kind of the third season of the year, right? Non-conference, conference, and then postseason. Season awards came out. You had a lot of guys represented on the first and second teams. There's arguments, honestly, for everybody to be obviously first team. They can't give it that way. I want just give you an opportunity to kind of, I guess, reflect. I know you don't really sit down and reflect until the season's over with, but Anderson and Ianson and Curiel and all these guys, they've got the flowers that they deserve. And I kind of want to ask you about how awesome it is to see those guys get rewarded for their hard work and their consistency throughout the year.
Yeah, no doubt. And as you've obviously played at the highest level, players are competitive individually as well. And I have no problem with that, to want to be recognized as the best at what you do. And we have the maturity within this team for those guys to do that, compete that way, and do it all within the team concept and place the needs of the team above their own. But yeah, I'm proud of those guys. I hadn't really looked at, what happened. One of the coaches was kind of telling me how it shook out. I wouldn't trade Cade and Anthony for anybody.
Right.
If you point to a reason we can be successful, in postseason baseball, you start there. Is like when we toe up or tee it up against anybody in games 1 and 2, we're matching up with any pitcher in the country type deal. And, then you talk about, I think you mentioned Derek had a great season as a freshman. I saw Kason Evans was on the all freshman team. What a contribution he had. And, it was interesting. We didn't have any hitters on the first team, but I actually thought that was actually kind of reflective of our team.
Correct.
With, I think Jared, Danny, I feel like there was one other one that I'm missing, and there was a second team. Derek at his position. And then, the one I felt like was a little bit robbed was Anthony. Like, I think he had a case to be SEC Pitcher of the Year, so to not be on the first team, I thought that was a little light, but it also probably reflects the strength of our league. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. Like, I think it was actually like probably the most guys we've ever had on that since I've been the coach here. Yeah. And deservedly so.
Yep. Coach, you talk about Cade and you talk about Anthony. We've talked a lot about them on the show. Obviously, I think they're the best 1-2 punch in the country. They're both aces. I mean, Cade Anderson's a top 5 pick in the draft potentially this year. Ianson, honestly, has better numbers than Cade, which I think a lot of people wouldn't realize. But with those two guys, number 1 and number 2 in your rotation, obviously 2 aces, and the way the SEC tournament is now structured, right? You can kind of position this like a normal weekend series instead of having to play on like a Thursday and kind of the way it used to be, double elimination. Is that how you're approaching it, just like a normal weekend series, just so happen to be playing different teams?
Yeah, it's a little trickier because of the later start.
Yeah.
And what I mean by is like not playing till Friday, and then you're playing the following Friday.
Right.
And in our case, that'll be here. So how we do that and leave ourselves the flexibility to set that up is really the most important thing. Now, don't get me wrong. Any competitive game that we play while I'm the coach here, we're going to win.
Yeah.
Like there's no question about that. And I actually like this tournament a lot. You referenced that you do too. I think I like it even more this year where we've actually going to have a chance to catch our breath a little bit between the finish of last week's series and this series. And we haven't had a whole lot of that, to be honest with you, throughout the season. It's been one haymaker after another. And, our team, I thought, handled that very well. I mean, we went 10-5 in the first half and 9-6 in the second half, which I think is really good consistency. I think we were one of only 4 teams that won 7 or more series. So I feel good about that. But yeah, we still have some decision making to do with how we're going to handle that. We're leaving ourselves the flexibility with how we're setting the pitcher schedule up to be able to do anything that we need to do. And, there's certainly, I would love to play 3 games because obviously it means we're winning. And,
right.
It's going to allow us to get everybody on the mound competitively, which is probably the most important thing. And then, the position players, they always want to play, so we're going to try to go in there. And, we're obviously only going to play good teams because we're playing late in the tournament.
Coach, staying on the pitching staff, arguably one of your most talented pitchers in Chase Shores, right? He is talent is off the charts. He's obviously got off to a slow start. Over the last month, it feels the last 3 weeks, his last 4 appearances, feels like he's kind of turned that corner. He looks like the pitcher he looked like his freshman year before the injury. Do you attribute that to maybe just getting comfortable? Do you attribute that to was there something that kind of worked on that kind of clicked, or is it just a combination of everything? Because he's looked like a different guy his last 4 outings, and then going into the postseason, that's got to be a huge asset for y'all, knowing that you have this guy back to his form.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought him up first. I actually met with him today, and I kind of said something along the same lines of just really proud of how he's continued to develop through this thing. And I really believe in Chase, which is why he was positioned where he was, in the rotation. And then when we made a switch, he still was pitching in a big role. And you guys know how I feel about the bullpen. It's more important than the starter, in my opinion. Correct. It is, because they're going to tip the scales in the close games. And he's done that. He's thrown 4 times over the last 2 weekends, and it's been electric. And I think, to answer your question, I wouldn't take any credit for anything. I know Coach Eski and Jamie have worked on some things hard with him, and I've seen some improvement. But I think it honestly was just the guy needed mound time. He hadn't really pitched for a year and a half, and we're asking him to go get the best lineups in the country out, and it's a challenge. I saw an ERA of a pitcher in our league that is projected to be a first-round pick. It's over 5.
Right.
I remember a couple years ago, Chase Dollander from Tennessee, who I think is already in the big leagues, like somebody was, kind of all over his numbers. And I was like, you don't get like what this 10 weeks is like. And then, pitching in a lot of small ballparks. So I think he's had a better season than maybe even the numbers reflect. But I'll tell you this, we weren't losing on his watch on either Thursday or Saturday last
Yeah.
weekend, and I thought he was excellent against Arkansas the previous Sunday, and he was a big reason we won that Friday game. So really pleased with Chase, and I think he's just now coming into his own. And I really think he needed mound time.
Yep.
And sometimes guys develop at different times, and he's got a lot of tools in his arsenal, and it's good to see them coming out the way that they are and helping us win.
Coach, I can feel, we've had the privilege of interviewing you throughout the years. Me and Mikey were talking about it before the show a little bit. We've had you on,
22?
since the impetus almost. And I could feel a little bit more of it's turned up a little bit. Like, is this a different part of the season whenever you get to SEC tournament play, you start getting into, obviously, regional, super regional? Do you feel like you kind of turned it up a notch a little bit?
No, actually, if anything, as a coach, I think it's actually more important that, from my standpoint, that I'm even more even-keeled or relaxed in the dugout because, we're going to keep working, and I'm going to work to, positively influence the players and influence them in the game because that's my job. But at this point in time, a lot of the hay is in the barn. And we've put in the work, and we've treated every game like a playoff game. So it's our time to go for it, and that's what we plan on doing. And they've earned the right without a shadow of a doubt to play both rounds of the postseason should we advance here. And to do that in our league is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's not something that should be taken lightly, and to be a top 8 national seed and get to play here, like they've earned that, and there's no question about that. So you trust that, and just like we'll always do. You guys asked me about the week. My job is to make sure all that's on the rails so we go into game time and we can just kind of do what we've done for 55 games.
Have you ever thought about wearing a catapult or a whoop during the game?
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Because what would be the highest is it's the in-game interview. That's the only time it would peak.
Yeah, luckily in the postseason, they get those things over with before the inning starts.
Yeah. Yeah.
God forbid.
And look, there's mics everywhere now, Coach. You get the hot mics. The hot mics happen everywhere now.
Not cool. Yeah.
Hey! Everybody's been calling a hot mic. I've been calling a hot mic.
Coach, don't you admit that was you because nobody knows if it was or not.
No
Innocent until
comment.
proven guilty in this country. That's what I know.
I don't even know what you guys are
Yeah,
talking
exactly.
about.
There we go.
Somebody in the stands said it. No doubt.
It was that woman.
Yeah. The K lady. Coach, offensively, there's been a lot of conversation over the last month. When's the offense going to step up? When's the offense going to step up? And we've been talking on this show. Hey, that's baseball. Obviously, you're going to go through some ups and downs. I think the credit to y'all is being able to win games different ways. So the offense maybe not clicking on all cylinders early on. Finding ways to win series, get to it until the offense gets back right. Felt like over the last week, 2 weeks, the offense is starting to find their groove. And then this weekend, Jared Jones has a big weekend. Dickinson has a big weekend. Curriel has a big weekend. Jake Brown has a big weekend. Historically, LSU teams from all the way from the skip gate days until now feels like they play their best baseball or they get hot at the end of the season. Your teams have been no different. It feels like they're doing it again, just like you did it last year and then the year before. Talk about I don't want to say the adjustments. Talk about these guys and how important it's been for them and how, I guess, good they're feeling going into the postseason.
Yeah, I think we've been working hard, in the midst of this. I think there's a few things you can point to. You mentioned the All-SEC team today. So the first team pitchers were Cade, Kyson Witherspoon, Liam Doyle, and Zach Root.
Yeah.
So not only did we face all those guys, we won all of those games.
Right.
So we were undefeated against those teams. So I think on some instances it's not maybe as bad as it seems. Like, good pitching is designed to beat good hitting.
Right.
And so there's an element of that. I think there's an element of, the mental side of the game, which we work incredibly hard on. like there just hasn't been a real breather game where you can catch your breath and go, oh, we should smash this guy.
Correct.
You know, we haven't had a lot of those. Like, and so I think the talent in the league is probably as good as it's ever been. And I just feel like this is baseball right now. Like, pitching development has exceeded hitting development a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it's actually one of those things that's going to circle back around because of, you know, the nature of hitting has always been hard. I think, you know, we've remained positive. We've tried to take things that are really have substance to them. I want to say it was the week of Arkansas. We got the rain out game against Grambling. We just kind of gave them that day off, like a second day off in a row. And then Wednesday, we really went to work and kind of structured practice like we did today with small groups and really dove in to show them, hey, this is why we're really good when we do this. And we kind of recommitted ourselves to a couple small things. And like against Root, like it didn't come right away, but Gabe Gackel's like one of the best relievers in the country, and Jimenez from Arkansas. And we came back and won that game against those guys, which is, you know, arguably the best staff in the country. Then, you know, we put up 13, you know, hit a bunch of homers the next game. And then because we dominated that game, Arkansas still had some pitching left in the tank, and we lost 7-4, which is kind of a normal baseball game. And then this weekend, you know, I actually thought we swung the bat really well. I mean, Friday we lost because of base running, which that hasn't happened in years, in the years that I've been here. And that wasn't an offense thing. I think we hit 13 balls 100 miles an hour or better on Thursday night, the game that we lost. And then we scored 8, and then we scored 7. And as you mentioned, we did it in different ways. We hit some homers. We had really good 2-out hitting on Saturday, executed a couple safety squeezes, ran the bases better, had a bunch of stolen bases this weekend. So, yeah, I think it's just not losing. I mean, and I love offense, man. Like, that's my spot. Like, at the end of the day, it's about, you know, getting a guy in from third with less than 2 outs, or, you know, how we hit with 2 strikes, or getting the free bases tilted in our favor, executing the small game when it's there. Like, you know, so we take so much pride in it. It's just, and it's a challenge because you're just getting challenged in our league in a way that nobody else is in college baseball. Like, the signing bonuses of those 3 guys I just mentioned is going to exceed $20 million, you know, and to hook them for 3 wins is pretty good. And so it's just about staying positive. Trust me, I mean, I get annoyed when we don't score the first time through the lineup. I get more annoyed than anybody, you know, so, but it's just, you know, you just got to keep with it. And I think this team has done that.
Coach, when you have teams that are extremely talented, extremely deep, everybody likes to talk about the top performers or the guys that quote-unquote superstars, but you win national championships and, you know, with guys who are kind of the unsung hero types. And Chris Stanfield has, and I don't think people realize this, but he leads your team in SEC average. He has a 326 average in SEC play. He's got 14 doubles in SEC play. He has, it sounds weird to some people who don't watch baseball, but he's kind of solidified that 9-hole and kind of given you a second leadoff guy, and he's been brilliant this entire season. Talk a little bit about him and how important he's been for the lineup and for the team.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing up any player. I definitely appreciate you bringing up Chris. You know, that was another one that, you know, he didn't have maybe a great season at Auburn. Those old evaluations of like, hey, I just like this. I like how this guy plays, and I think we can help him. And I love how he plays now that he's on my team. And he has gotten a lot better. Yeah. And we've won some games because of Chris. And it'll fly under the radar maybe because he hits 9th, whether it's been diving catches, you know, his ability to score on a play that nobody else on the team can score because of his, you know, speed. I want to say he had a 4-hit game against Alabama, the game we won 4-3. And, you know, he created 3 of the 4 runs. He was great this weekend. I was proud of him. He walked 3 times on Saturday and turned the lineup over, and we scored 8 runs. And then on Sunday, he had an at-bat that wasn't maybe his best at-bat, and then he gets up the next time and drills a single when we really need it, causes a disruption play on the bases, gets to second, and I think Derek drove him in for a huge add-on run. And, which was great because, we actually talked before the 7th inning about like, hey, in this time of year, like the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, like that's going to be our time. So let's get this going like right now. And I liked how we scored 1 in every inning, and the bullpen came and did its job, and that's how you win those high leverage games. So it was good.
Yeah, you've done a great job of evaluating talent on teams that you've played against, whether it be Broswell and now Stanfield, guys that are in the SEC that come to your program. But you did mention one thing that I think is interesting because I've listened to your post game a little bit earlier today, and you said like the first time through the lineup you'd like to be able to score, but you said it's the second time through the lineup when you guys are able to get through and see the same picture again. How much has that impacted like what your approach is in terms of how you evaluate a baseball game from your seat or from your your stoop on the dugout whenever you're trying to watch and be like, give yourself some time, give the team some time before you start trying to do your chess piece moves?
It depends. I think a little bit differently than just traditional baseball in a lot of ways, like how we use our challenges, how does it affect runs? How does it affect pitch count? Like the other day, like I wasn't even sure we got the guy at third base, but my thought process was, okay, if we did get him, not only are we out of this inning with 0 runs, but that's going to save Anthony like even 3 to 10 pitches with runner in scoring position, which could allow him to get deeper into the game. So even if it was a close one, like I would challenge that one because if it goes right, it's good. And there was a couple this weekend, based on, how they chose to do their pitching, were we going to make a move even the second time through the order? And we have some guys sitting there, that can really impact the game. And so you have to just weigh those out. It was a bummer that we lost Thursday because I thought we put Brown in at the perfect time and he got a huge hit that opened up a 2-run inning. And then we ended up giving it back. But like, you just have to do it when it can impact the game the most. And it's worked out really good this year. And all the credit to those guys on the bench, to be ready, whether it was that case, Jake, and I mean, he plays a lot, but he's always been ready. Larson had a big homer, against Alabama. Dalton Beck, obviously, the huge hit against Tennessee. John Pearson always gives us a good at bat. Aaron Beatty to come in to catch, after one of those things and lock it down. So it's nice to have the depth. It's just trying to use it when they can be successful.
Coach,
nobody will listen to question your moves, Coach.
What's that?
Said nobody will listen to question what you do, Coach. That's all I've got to say. You know what you got. You know what you recruited. I trust you.
No, that's all right. Yeah, like, hey, I'm not worried about that. We're just having a baseball conversation.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Coach, you've relied on freshmen in the past. You relied on a lot of freshmen. They've been in a lot of key roles. Obviously, over time they get develop. They develop, and towards the end of the year, they're not really freshmen anymore. Cooper Williams has really kind of started to emerge as the season has gone on. It feels like he's your first lefty out of the pen in some big situations, and he's executed really well over the last month. Talk about his development a little bit and how I know you obviously recruited him and you knew that he had it because you put him in there early on in the season. But how impressive has his development has gotten throughout the course of the season?
Yeah, I'm very high on him. And we have talent across the roster. Like, there's no question about that. But the mindset or mental game or maturity is the separator, whether that player can go in and execute their job in a way that's going to tip the scales towards us winning. And again, just like we kind of talked about with Chase Shore, sometimes you just need time to do that. And I feel like Cooper, Maverick Rizzi, William Schmidt, Kaysen has kind of been at the forefront of this thing from the start. Like, these guys are just going to keep getting better. And, there's some guys on the position player side. Cade Aaron Beatty has been huge, in this second half of the season. And obviously he's going to play a huge role in where we're headed as a program going forward. So that's been great. But it's just maturity. And, this is just not a straight arrow to the top in baseball, as you know. And so no matter how talented that you are, and I explained this, I just had a freshman in my office who hasn't played a lot in the simulated game today, and he's smashing balls in the gap and looks like a real hitter. And it's just like, hey, you haven't got a ton of opportunities, but I can see the work and I can see the improvement. Like, just keep going with this thing. You know what I mean? Like, just keep going. And, you know, he's high makeup, high character kid. He will do that. So it's just, in Cooper's case, it's left-handed. We needed left-handed. It's 3 pitches for strikes. He just needed to continue to get a little more physical, which he has. He needed some innings under his belt at this level. And I'll tell you, the pitch I was the most proud of is we reviewed the hit by pitch, which wasn't a hit by pitch, which sent the hitter back to the box, but it sent him back to the box in a 3-2 count. And he had just stood on the mound for like 5 minutes. And it just dotted a changeup right down the middle. And the guy like froze, and that was huge. That was a huge out.
Great challenge.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Hey, you've been nails on your challenges. You've been really good with them. And
thank you. I appreciate that. And again, like, I don't want to get into it because there's some strategy. Obviously, we want the calls overturned or turned in our favor. That's number one. But like, we'll use them. Like, I want to say, like, Stanfield hit a ball at Texas A&M. Like, it was close. Matter of fact, on the replay, it actually looked fair.
Right.
But they didn't overturn it. But it's like, okay, even if I'm wrong, but that might give us 3 runs if we're right. And so it's worth rolling the dice. And I mean, it's like a basketball coach with timeouts. Like, why would you take your timeouts into the locker room if you can turn a call in your favor? You know,
correct.
Next thing's balls and strikes, like, because that got me in trouble.
God.
I mean, that's we actually had a conversation about this. You can't have the balls and strikes every ball, but I think there should be, like, you know, they did the spring training thing where, like, the hitter and the pitcher, or the batter and the hitter can, like, challenge it. I think each team should get 3 challenges. They should use that system, and they should get 3 challenges. And honestly, I believe it should come from the hitter or the pitcher. Now,
well, you're taking the power out of it.
But that's, I mean, I think that you get 3 of them, and it teaches them strategy, and I think it takes, I don't know. I like that. I like that.
I would like Jay to come out. Jay to come out the dugout with a couple of these.
Do y'all get to watch the replay before you challenge, or you have to challenge before you see a replay? Like, there's no monitor in the.
There's none of that.
Yeah.
I think what I've learned is how convicted is the player.
Yeah.
And like, you can tell the difference in, like, their body language, and literally, like, there's no hesitation when they know that they're right. And then again, like, there's an element to it. It's just like, okay, how could this affect the game? And sometimes, like, I mean, if we've had a quick inning or it's going to be an out,
Yep.
and the pitcher has barely sat down, like, sometimes I'll challenge just to have 2.5 minutes run off the clock so they can sit there and drink Gatorade.
Yeah,
you know, before they get back out there.
Right.
So.
It's the Bill Belichick in him. This is the old football Jay coming out.
This is good. Yeah, I mean, there's rhyme and reason to everything. Coach, we appreciate your time as always. I know it's been a couple weeks. It's always a treat when you come on the show. Obviously, we're going to be watching you this weekend. Jared's going to be out there working. He's actually in Hoover right now. That's why he's not on our show. You don't get to see his pretty face today, but you'll see him out there in Hoover. I'm sure he'll interview you, hopefully after a couple wins. But we'll be watching. We appreciate you. Good luck, and we'll talk to you again next week before you host the regional.
Sounds great. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you too, Coach.
Thanks,
see you.
sir.
Have a good night.
Yep. His night's just starting.
I thought you were going to ask him about his hat. Because that one looked like
that's the OG one.
That had to be he has to have a practice hat now.
Yeah.
Right? That has to be his practice hat because that looks a little fade. It looks like so Trevor Bauer used to put his hat on his dashboard.
Oh.
And it would fade. He wanted it faded. And so that's faded. That's obviously the only thing that does that is the sun. And so that's obviously not the new one. That is the practice hat, which is nice. Nice to have 2 hats.
I thought about there I am.
Hey.
I thought about asking about the hat, but I feel like it's been played out.
And I wanted to talk about his defense. he was on there for 30 minutes. And
I felt bad for keeping him for that long, but I wanted, there's things that need to be asked, and I'm grateful for the time, so I wanted to make sure we utilized all of it. But we don't get that view often.
Yeah.
Of this one. Like, we usually get the championship trophies or something, so clearly the man is grinding.
He's working. He's working.
That's why I posed the question the way that I did.
He's figuring it out. And look,
I think he's past that.
Yeah. There's I wanted to talk about the defense, right? Because the defense has been really good all year. They turned a 5-4-3 double play in a big moment against South Carolina, and like you say, oh, he turned a 5-4. You're supposed to do that. Yeah, you are. 5-4-3 is like that's 2 long throws, right? Like you got to field it, you got to throw it to second, you got to get a good transfer from second, good strong throw to first. Like there's a lot of things that are happening in 5, especially in those types of moments.
It doesn't happen in college ball that often.
That's what I was getting at, right? As good as the SEC is and as talented as those guys are, it doesn't happen as smoothly as it happened. And it was a big moment, big situation. They turned it. You obviously have Pearson's playing the outfield. Like, you had really big plays throughout the course of the week and throughout the course of the year.
Michael Broswell's diving catch at third.
Bear
Jones caught catch that won't get remembered because LSU ended up obviously losing that game. But that play with the infield in, and you have a laser hit to you, and it's Bear Jones after you had Trey Morgan.
No
it's like, how will you be able to field the position?
No doubt.
And then you see a play like that, you're like, athlete.
And then Cade Anderson fielding his position flawlessly. Obviously, all defensive team. As a left-handed pitcher coming off the mound, those are hard plays. Like, they look simple. They're hard, especially fielding the ball and going to third base. Pitchers don't ever throw it to third base. And he fielded it. The ball took him there, and he made the throw, got the force out at third. Like, a lot of really good baseball plays happening. I wanted to talk to him about that, but obviously, we're sensitive to his time, and I didn't want to keep him for too long.
And I'd rather have a little fun.
Also wanted to talk to him about Jake Brown.
He got there by himself.
Yeah. He made sure to bring him up, and no, he didn't bring him up because he wants to keep him here from transferring. I think, there's been some rumors that have been
unsubstantiated.
They've been thrown out there that there's a potential for him to transfer. I don't think – actually, I'm pretty positive that is not the case. He loves it here. He's having an unbelievable season, right? And I think that's why people are upset because he's not playing a lot. But let's just really – dissect this, okay? He is second on the team in batting average in conference play, right? Behind Chris Stanfield, okay? And you say, well, why doesn't he play every day? He should. He will next year. He will be the day one starter, play in the outfield every single day, have double-digit homers. I think he's got 7 on the year right now. I believe – depending on how far they go, if they go to Omaha, I believe he gets to double digits. He crushes righties, struggles right now against lefties. I think that will continue to get better. Why does he not play every day? Because you have a guy on your team named Josh Pearson, who's a senior, who is better against lefties than him, but also not so bad against righties, and he's not having a bad year. He's hitting over 300 on the year, right? Also with 6 homers. So you have the luxury of having 4 guys in the outfield that can all be starters, and I think the way Jay is doing it is the right way. I think if it's a right-handed starter, you're going to see Jake Brown start. If it's a left-handed starter, you're going to see Josh Pearson start, but both of those guys are probably going to come in the game at some point, and both of those games have had success. Both of those guys have had success in games where they came off the bench. Jake Brown is a star. Jake Brown is going to be a pretty high draft pick, and Jake Brown, I do not believe, is going to go anywhere from LSU. I've had conversations with him, not about where he's going, if he's staying, just about ball, and he loves LSU. I know his family loves LSU. He's from Sulphur, Louisiana. He grew up watching LSU. I don't think Jake Brown's going anywhere. I don't think you have to worry about Jake Brown going anywhere. Jake Brown's going to have a great postseason, and he's going to go into the next year as a preseason All-SEC type guy.
And how many times have we had the conversation about, even with Jay, we brought this up to him because it's not a sensitive subject, of, hey, all of these guys are bought into one thing. And what's that one thing? Winning. Once you have that formula and that sauce and it's real, you have Pearson, who was on the 2023 National Championship team. He's coming off the bench in moments. Like, it's not just a play him because I think he looks good or play him because he's this talented. It's you're letting your head coach and put people in. Why do you think Jake Brown's average is so good? Maybe you're putting him in positions to succeed?
Correct. And look, and Jake knows that he doesn't hit lefties well. Like, he understands that. He's not naive. He's a smart baseball guy. I also
might
know
be a smart guy.
I also know that he believes he's going to be able to hit lefties. Like, he can hit lefties, And I believe that he's going to get the opportunity to hit lefties in his career at LSU. He's not just going to be a righty guy, but the way the roster is constructed this year, you have a guy that you can put in there that you don't feel like you lose anything in the outfield, and he hits lefties better. Like, why would you not do that? I think that's a smart move. The goal is to win. Yeah, you want to retain all your players, but the goal is to win, especially when the guy is hitting 324 in the SC and he's got 7 home runs in the year and he's got starter at bats. He's fine.
Everybody's happy.
He ain't going anywhere.
No, that's a non-starter.
And if he goes anywhere, I'll put my foot in my mouth and I'll admit that I was wrong, but I do not.
I'll see how strong this ceiling fan is.
I do not believe he's going anywhere.
No.
I believe he's going to be at the top of the lineup next year as an everyday outfielder.
And you can say that with as much confidence as you want to, because I believe very much that you're correct in that statement. There's no reason for him to go anywhere, because if he were unhappy, you would know. And why would you leave whenever I guess you could say the one person that's keeping him from playing every day is still on the team and won't be on the team next year?
Right.
But it's also a coach that has put together a lineup and a roster that he stacked the deck for himself, or for LSU, however you want to look at it. But it's because you have talent you're overloaded with talent at certain positions. How is that a bad thing? If you believe in winning and you believe in doing what's best for the team, which these guys do, this is not a conversation to have. It's not like, where's my playing time? You're getting plenty of at-bats, and you're doing what's right for you, and you're getting put in a spot where it makes you look good.
Let me give an example.
Please.
And it's not apples to apples example. It's a different career trajectory. Leon Landry, freshman All-American as a freshman LSU. Starting center fielder, great. Crowd favorite, made great plays, had a good year offensively, electric, right? 2009, he starts off the season lightning hot. 9 home runs in his first, 15 or 16 games, before conference play started. Then he starts struggling, swinging and missing a lot, not feeling great, not doing these things. Coach makes a change, puts him on the bench. Doesn't start him, puts me in center, puts Jared in right, moves Schimpf to left. Leon's not playing anymore. This is probably towards the back half of the SEC, struggling, right? So he's on the bench for a minute, gets a spot start against Mississippi State last week in the season. It's 3 home runs in 1 game. So now he's got 12 home runs back on the bench. Now he's a, matchup guy, put you in for defense.
Weapon.
Leon made 3 ESPN top 10 plays in Omaha. Diving catches on the track, in the gap. He could have easily shut it down, right? Didn't. Understood his role, got through it, won national championship, was happy. Next year, started the year in center field, ended up getting drafted in the 3rd round. My point in saying that is sometimes you make decisions to allow your team to give your team the best chance to win that year. It's not an indictment on that guy. It doesn't mean he can't play. And if the guy takes it the right way, which I believe Jake Brown's taking it, the next year he's going to get rewarded for it, and he's going to go out there and he's going to be an everyday outfielder, probably a top 5 rounder. That's baseball. There's only 9 guys that can play out in the field.
Well, not only is it baseball, but if you have a team that you think is constructed the right way to be able to win and win big and win in Omaha and win a national championship, if you have guys that don't take a backseat to that or don't see the vision, you don't have a prayer. If you have somebody that's like, no, I need to get my ABs, no, I need to play every day, then that's when you, as a coach, you have to look at and go, brother, then I don't know if this place is for you.
Right.
And Jake Brown's the opposite of that. He is one that is all for LSU, came here as a guy that wanted to pitch and play, and gave up on pitching, and now has become a absolute cog in what you do offensively, defensively, a player. And he's getting his at-bats. And then you have Pearson, which I think would be the bigger story in all of this conversation about, who's taking a backseat to whom. It's like a guy that's a, 4th, 5th-year senior that has every right to say, why am I coming out of a baseball game ever? I'm hitting over 300 against lefties. I've proven myself time and time again. But that's a guy that knows what it takes to win a national championship, and he knows it's the right move. And that's a credit to the coach to get them to believe that. And then it's a credit to the player for them having an egoless sense of self in terms of how baseball works and what we need to do to get to where we all want to be. It ain't about me.
All right.
It's not that big of a conversation. And Jake Brown's also be the first one to tell you. Said it on the show. I'd like to get better at hitting against lefties.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Don't put me in that spot.
Here's a crazy stat. So Jake Brown's got 139 at-bats, 164 plate appearances. Josh Pearson's got 158 plate appearances and 117 at-bats, right? So plate appearance-wise, they're only 6 apart. Jake Brown ahead of him, right? You have, like, those are starter at-bats. Like, that is, by the end of the year, he's going to almost have 200 plate appearances, which – I mean, that's to be able to basically have 4 starting outfielders, and they all have starter at bats. I think that's a really good thing to have, and that's impressive the way Jay's actually navigated that playing time wise. And it always feels like they've stayed in rhythm. Like, it didn't feel like they had a bunch of time off of not playing and then kind of lose that rhythm. It feels like they've always stayed in rhythm, and that's a credit to him, credit to them, and I think that's the best. I think that's what makes this lineup the best moving forward is having both of those guys get their at-bats. I think Jake Brown's going to end up with 10 home runs this year. I think he's going to hit at least three home runs from SEC tournament to hopefully Omaha. And don't look now, but Jared Jones has 19. 7 in the SEC, only midweek guy. He was a midweek demon, but now he's
midweek merchant.
He's got the 7 homers. He had 3 this weekend. I don't care if it's against South Carolina or not. You have to hit home runs in the SEC. You can't say, oh, he's not hitting home runs in the SEC, and then he hits 3 and it's against South Carolina. Oh, it's against South Carolina. So you still got to play him. You got to play who's on your roster. Hits 3 home runs. He did the same thing last year. Back half of the season got hot. Last couple of weekends, postseason play got hot. It feels like that's kind of where he's at. And what did I tell you last week? Man, it feels like Danny Dickinson's about to go on this little homer brush. He hadn't had one in a while. He went on that stretch where he hit like 4 or 5 in about a 2 or 3 week period. Hadn't hit one since the beginning of April. Hits 2 this weekend. Feels like he's going to kind of start driving the ball to the ballpark a little bit more too. It's just the offense is starting to click.
I thought it was coming against Tennessee because he was barreling everything up, whether it was foul, fair, indifferent. He was seeing the ball so well. Took an extra couple of weeks, but
he's a guy that people thought was going to struggle a little bit in the SEC. He hit
I think that's a fair assumption to make.
Right. He's coming. It's a completely different conference. He's hitting 335 overall, but he's hitting 315 in conference. Like in the best conference in college baseball. Like that's a pretty impressive season by him.
And the defense he's
second
played.
team All SEC defense has been amazing, right? And look, Milan hasn't gotten hot yet.
And you're starting to see flashes of it, right?
Yep.
But to see somebody like Dickinson go from being an absolute superstar to being a star on a team full of stars, like that's where you're starting to see the mental makeup of this baseball team, and that's what it takes to be great. That's what it takes to succeed. That's what it takes to win a national championship. Like you see it every now and again where you can kind of put your finger on the pulse of what this team is doing.
Right.
And it feels like that's one of those squads where it's like everybody's bought into the same goal. It's not me. It's not me. Why did I come to LSU? Like what's gonna I'm gonna bat what? 2nd, 8th? Doesn't matter.
Right.
That's where I think that people are losing the vision of what.
Well, that's why baseball is such
it's a selfless sport.
That's why baseball is a long season, right? Because you've seen guys get hot for a month. You've seen guys get cold for a month. Who can do it for the entire season? Who can get hot, get cold, get hot, and then kind of level the ship? That's what you've seen this year with a lot of these guys. And, now they're on that – they get that second win going in the postseason. I think you're going to see a lot of these guys kind of rise up. Josh Pearson was big in postseason play last year. Like Jake Brown, huge in postseason play last year. So, all those guys had the experience of last year and playing well last year. And now they're 1 year. They have one more year under their belt, and it's going to be a fun postseason. LSU is, I believe. I don't want to drop the L word. Can I drop the L word?
No.
I believe that they are very likely.
Mm-hmm.
That L word, not the other L word, to be a national seed, regardless of what happens in the SEC tournament. I believe at 19-11. I believe at 43-12, whatever their record is. I believe that's top 8 national seed stuff. They get the first game. They're going to play Auburn. Auburn is going to play the winner of Mississippi State and Texas A&M, right? So if Auburn beats whoever that wins that game, then LSU gets to play Auburn. And, obviously LSU got swept at Auburn. I believe that if LSU goes and they don't have to beat Auburn, but I believe if they do beat Auburn and they get through that, I believe they potentially are a top 3 national seed when it's all said and done.
How much are you playing for that extra couple as opposed to getting into the top 8, which it feels like that's very likely? Then how much do you look at the different, I guess, scheduling around what would come to your ballpark versus what else would come to your ballpark?
I don't think you do that.
Is
because
it worth trying to win more games in the SEC tournament? Because you played for a guy that loved to do it.
And this is this tournament's not as strenuous on your roster as it was in the past because it's single elimination. You're one and done. You're not going to have to come through the losers bracket. We did that in 2009. We lost to Vanderbilt first game of the tournament. Had to play a bunch of games and to win it, right? And so you don't have to do that anymore.
Which is where it's good,
right? It's different. I don't know if
there's
I love
pros
it.
And there's
but like
pros
for
and cons.
LSU this year, I think that's a pro.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, we're gonna treat this as a weekend series.
You get to play on Friday.
You're gonna play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and if you play on Sunday, you're going for a championship. If you lose, you're out. Right. I think they've positioned themselves. And here's the deal. When you're playing on a Thursday or Friday and you only have to play that weekend series, that means you're a top 4 seed in the SEC, which probably means you've locked up a national seed. Probably. Right? So I think it shapes up well for teams like that. I think it shapes up well for LSU. They're going to go out and they're going to try to win it because it's not going to put a lot of extra stress on them winning any extra games that that they have to play. They don't have to play 5 straight games unlike any other part of the season. So, do I think that they're looking at the positioning and seeding? I do not, because it's impossible to predict who's in what regional, because it's not regional based, right? Like, hey, you're in this regional it's not based off your region. We had to go to UCLA in 2010, right, as a 2 seed. So it's impossible to predict who you're going to be matched up against. You don't know what the committee's going to do, and you don't know, if being a 3 national seed is better than being an 8 national seed, because it's not like March Madness where they're ranking you 1 through 64, right? The first team's not playing the 64th seeded team or whatever. It's not the same, and it doesn't being a 3 seed doesn't necessarily give you the easier route, even though theoretically it should. So I don't think that they're worried about positioning. I think they're just worried about getting the 8 national seed, but they do want to go out and win it. I believe that.
Well, everybody competes, right? Like, once you start playing, it's like, I do want to win.
Well, look, and here's the other part of it.
This?
Well, that's unanimous. Some people would call that. The other thing is there's going to be more scouts in the stands in these games than any other point in time in the season so far. Okay? They have more Major League prospects in the SEC than any other conference. So it's going to be a very, very well-attended tournament in regards to scouts and GMs and presidents and all those type cross-checkers, all of that. And so I say that because, you want to win. It's all about the team for sure. But if you go out there and you win it, that just gives you more opportunity to do something really good in front of scouts and enhance your draft stock for this year or create more hype for you going into the draft next year. And that's part of why I liked it so much, not necessarily because it was an opportunity for us to show off in front of scouts, but you felt a different type of buzz around the stadium, right? You're playing for the SEC tournament championship. You have some of the best teams in the country. You've played against, you're probably friends with some of these guys based off of the summer circuits or summer ball or whatever. And that they've got a lot of scouts, so that just gives an extra added buzz, and it's a different energy, and I really like it. And so that's another added, I guess, benefit of winning games is you get more opportunities for these guys to get seen by some of these scouts. Maybe these guys came early in the season, middle of the SEC, and they weren't feeling great. Now you're playing in tournament ball where it's win or go home. Stakes are higher. You play well. Draft stock skyrockets. So it's an important tournament for a lot of reasons, but
I'd also love to know how many other teams in the country at this point in time would be staring at unanimous Is that the word you use? Number 1 in the country, and wondering. I don't know if you're a top 8 seed.
I don't. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying the word, but I do believe it's very likely that they are a top 8 seed. I don't see how. You win 19 games, you're the 3rd team in the FC, and
the number 1 ranked team in the country.
You beat the number 2 out of 3 from the number 2 team in the country. You know, I just don't see how you're not.
Just wait for, God forbid, if LSU gets to the championship game in the SEC tournament and they lose and watch.
Hey, you don't want the 1 overall seed. We've all discussed that. LSU wasn't a 1 overall seed in 2023, right? I believe they're the 3.
Mm-hmm.
The 1 overall seed, I think, has, unless somebody broke that curse recently.
It has been maybe.
Not since LSU in 23. It still had. I don't know if last year. Who won it last year? Tennessee. Were they the 1 overall seed?
Maybe.
If they were the number 1 overall seed last year, they broke the curse.
It's been a curse.
Yeah. So that, I mean, it's not the most important thing is hosting regional and super regional, especially here. And I think that they're in good shape to do that.
And yeah, that's what people are also like. I guess that's part of the pressure of as to why there's so much conversation and conjecture around it, is because how good LSU does play in Alec Box, and it's like, just let them host a regional, super regional. LSU has had far worse statistical years and hosted.
There was, and there was a mock regional matchup or super regional matchup, and one of those was matched up with the Coastal Carolina regional.
You know who else was in that?
Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Coastal obviously was that 2015 or 2015, 2016 when they came to LSU and they took was it the regional or super regional? That's when Coastal won it. I don't know what year that was, but you know, obviously they came in here and beat LSU, ended up winning the national championship. That'd be interesting. They're obviously always a really good team. They're really good again this year. You know what would have been a really cool thing to do? Maybe we do this in the future. All of the hot takes, like let's say somebody starts struggling for maybe 1 or 2 outings or 1 or 2 weeks. And the hot takes of, man, this guy needs to get benched or this guy needs to sit. What year is that? That's Kramer, right?
Yeah, but then he did go to Omaha the next year.
Kramer did.
Right?
In 17.
So that was 16.
Yeah. But, yeah, so like all the hot takes, right? Like, had we done those things this year, Anthony Ianson would have been out the rotation 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago.
I love this idea.
If we did that, Jared Jones would have been benched and never had this 3 home run game.
Jake Brown would have played third base.
Jake Brown would have played third. But like, you know, you'd have done these different things, and now you look up at the end of the season, Anthony Ianson best ERA has a sub-3 ERA for the year, sub-3 ERA for in SEC play. Has a 2.83 ERA in SEC play, 7-2 record in SEC.
I'm not saying.
And if you don't know, there's 10 opportunities. He had 10 weekends, so at 10 starts, he went 7-2, 1 no decision, with a 2.83 ERA.
But you wouldn't move him to the bullpen.
But they wanted to move him out. My point in saying all of this is, it is a long season, and you can't be rational. You can't be rash in your decisions based off 1 or 2 outings.
Also,
You gotta let it play out.
It explains a lot as to why coaches coach and people that don't coach watch.
Players play and coaches coach.
And those that can't teach gym.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was the matchup that you had. 7 overall seed.
Well, Miami's sneaky in there too.
Miami's in there.
Skip Burtman.
Yeah.
Alex Cora.
It's going to be fun postseason. Can't wait.
It gets so stressful.
It's going to be fun.
Jared Mitchell described it perfectly. We talked about the difference between a good Alec Box versus a good Death Valley, and then talking about playoff baseball.
Every pitch matters.
It's so true, because when you start thinking about it, you're like, oh my God. And then a football game, you can kind of ride
just for the sake of
until the third or fourth, like, oh, it's back and forth. I get it. Baseball, it could be one where you could score 8, and you're like, I still don't feel safe.
Right. And look, for the sake of baseball, I would just want Mother Nature to be kind to LSU.
I don't.
Listen, the 2 biggest home series of the year. The Friday night game then starts on 9:55. Okay. If LSU's hosting throughout the postseason, I would like for Mother Nature to cooperate so that just one time this year these guys can get that Friday night, crazy atmosphere. Ace versus ace. Start at 7 o'clock. ESPNU, whatever it is on, and allow it to just play out the way it should play. And hopefully we're in the stands where the rallies ends and some guy shows up with shots after they hit a walk-off homer.
That's the best part.
That'd be great.
That would be, but
I would love that to happen at like 9:45 instead of 1:45.
Hey, I'm not going to go against the man we just had on the show.
No doubt. Listen, it's not about him. It's about Mother Nature. Like if the weather cooperates, obviously the game's going to be on time. That'd be great. That'd be wonderful.
But also love the. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm young at heart. That delay to.
Look, if there's a delay, let's make it like maybe 8:30 start, not a 10 o'clock start. That'd be great.
Why?
Well, you know what he's going to do. He's going to play the day game on Friday of the regional.
Oh, people will be upset about that.
That's what he does. That's what he's been doing. Day game, then night game the next day because you get to pick.
Because you know what he's doing? Setting up his team for the best chance to win.
Right.
He could play that game with nobody in the stands. Now, does he understand the importance of having a crowd? Absolutely.
He does.
But what's more important than that?
Winning the games and what's best for the team. For sure. For sure.
So if he wants to kick it off at 9:50,
people will show up if they need to show up.
If toe meets rubber at 9:58 p.m., I'm there.
You're there. I'm there too. I will be there.
But yeah, it would be nice to have one where it's like full throat.
Yeah.
Capacity. Oof. I mean, you saw it against Tennessee on Saturday. Like,
is Tennessee out of the regional host?
Yes.
I think they are, right? They're going
to try to make a mega run.
Yeah, they're going to have to probably win the tournament.
Yeah, they're going to try.
I
don't blame them. Because they're not that bad.
No. Now, what about... I'm about to pull it up right now. How about that? Damn. I was saying, what about Florida? They sneak into a regional host because they got to 15-15 in conference play. But I do not think that they are a regional host because Tennessee ended up 16-14 in conference. Florida's got 18 RPI. Now maybe Florida makes a run in the tournament. Maybe
they could. Like none of these teams are quote unquote out.
Mm-mm.
Like you don't want to see any SEC. You want to get as far away from the SEC as you can.
Yeah.
Because I would love to see Oregon State. That's a
6 in the RPI.
I don't care about that. They don't
jumped
have
8 spots. 8 spots in a week.
And that's what we talked about a little bit this morning. It's like the RPI needs to be adjusted because none of this makes any sense because you're an independent. Where's Notre Dame baseball? Why would you ever leave if that's the case?
Texas, Georgia, Auburn, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, top 5 RPI
Or you
teams.
can be independent and be number 8 in the RPI because you don't have a conference to play in.
Yeah, you just play everybody on the road.
Yeah, just go to Hawaii for 4 days. Ugh, bummer.
Great. It'll be interesting. It'll be a fun postseason. Did you watch golf? I know you played golf this weekend. Did you watch golf?
Yes.
So did I.
I did. As
played
much and a lot of flack towards Quail Hollow because it's been very corporate. Not a lot of fans out there. I'm sure you saw Michael Block said, I would have played better if more people were watching me. Like, brother, you shot 15 over and missed the cut by 8.
Yeah, that was
I don't think that the crowd, maybe if you played better, more people would watch.
Yeah.
But not the best venue, I guess. Is it somewhere that they play normal tournaments regardless? But you could see the corporatization of it all as opposed to, like, I like when I see a major and there's people following every shot.
Right.
And they're like, no matter if it's the leader group or the second leader group or the third, the first group off. Felt a little stale, but that doesn't matter to Scotty Scheffler, who seems to be a robot.
I mean, he's a monster. He's halfway to the Grand Slam. There's a lot of people out there right now that, I mean, Spieth's one away. He has to win one more major to get a Grand Slam. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but He's one away.
That's what happens when
You
you get
have
married and have kids.
You have Scotty's 2 away. Scotty probably has the best opportunity. Spieth's not. I mean, Spieth, maybe Scotty and Spieth because they're both young. John Rahm obviously not on the
Spieth
tour.
have left the PGA?
Spieth didn't leave the PGA.
No, what does he have left?
Oh, I don't know what he's got. I don't know.
He's
what
won
got
the
left.
British. He's won the Masters.
Did he win the Open?
He's won the Open, I believe.
So then it has to be
the
PGA. Scotty's got 2 left. John Rahm, I think, he's got 2. He's got 2 majors. This is the same major.
He's won the Masters.
He won the Masters. I believe he won another one. Right?
No, we shouldn't talk about it if we don't know it.
But like you have a lot of guys out there that have a chance, or at least are in the running.
Oh, I think
he won the Open and he won the Masters.
Yep.
So he's got 2. He's
British?
2 away.
Or,
He won the U.S. Open.
U.S. Open, yeah.
He won the U.S. Open in 21. He won the Masters in 23. So
And-
he's got 2 left. It's crazy.
Well, there's just so many.
Golf's in a really good spot.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Even with this, like, I guess division between Live and the PGA, whatever, all these guys are so good. And with that said, it feels like they're so good, so young now that they have time to be able to kind of capitalize on the opportunity to play in major events. And I would be, like, if you had to bet right now, would you not bet Scotty to have a career Grand Slam?
Oh,
I
100%.
just feel like that would be more of a sure bet than him to not. Like, the odds wouldn't even be that great for you.
100%. Spieth does not have the PGA Championship. He won the 15 Masters, the 15 U.S. Open, and then he won the 17 British Open.
And he should have won another Masters, but after that he gagged it away.
But that was 17 was his last major.
Yeah, that's why I don't think he'll ever do it.
I mean, he only needs one. Just one more.
You don't think there's anybody thinking about that more than the most OCD man on the planet?
Right? No, you're right. You're right.
Weighs heavy on the head.
Yeah. No, it's
so
just,
much so that some people try to cheat.
Okay. That's not. I know you don't like him. He wasn't cheating. It's like a bat. Like, hey, this bat, you've been using it and you've been hitting it in the sweet spot so much, it's dented. It's not. And you know that's exactly. Apparently, Scotty had one too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But Scotty didn't use it, and it was fine. His backup driver was fine. You just don't like Rory. That's your issue. That's your issue. Okay.
Well, look at the way the two people handled it.
Look, I get it.
Scotty
Nobody even brought it up to Scotty.
And then they did. He was like, oh, yeah, if anything, I think they should test it more. And then you have one puss boy that doesn't want to talk to the media for 4 days because he just doesn't want to because he's not playing great. And they took my driver away. You just won a career Grand Slam. The world should be your oyster. And instead, you turn around and make it. He's insufferable. And you know that.
I know you don't like him.
And I'm happy for him.
I'm glad he won the career Grand Slam.
I wish he wouldn't have, and this had happened.
Well, that's very mean of you to say. I'm glad he won it. I like greatness.
I don't consider him great.
You're fucking lying.
I don't.
Come on, dude. He's one of 5 people to win a career Grand Slam.
And for now.
Yeah, but still, he's, as of now, one of 5 people in all of golf to win a career Grand Slam. Like, he is great. He is one of the all-time greats. Doesn't mean he's the greatest. He's one of the all-time greats.
Bad.
Scotty will be potentially at the end of his career. Could potentially be. I don't see Scotty having a.
He's on a.
I don't see Scotty having the Tiger Woods of 2009 situation happening.
He is.
Right, like.
No.
I don't think that's happening. I don't think I think Scotty's gonna be able to stay on the straight and narrow. I mean, he's young. He's 29. I don't even think he's 30 yet. It's crazy, isn't it?
He is going to. I mean, they're saying in the chat like double digit. There's a real chance that that's actually a possibility. You might be watching one of the greatest of all time.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and I'm not talking about Rory McIlroy. I'm talking about Scotty. And I'm starting to love the star turn he's making where showing a little bit of emotion, having a bit more fun, caring a little bit more, where it used to be like, ho-hum. After the arrest, it kind of opened up his whole, like, a little bit more of his personality, and now you're seeing, like, this guy's actually pretty cool. He's letting you in more, and the way he goes about golf and the way that he thinks about it is the perfect temperament you can have if you're not going to be Tiger and, like, be an absolute total nuclear dickhead the entire time you play. Don't talk to me. I'm absolutely burning a hole through you if you look at me. It's this way, affable, but also, like, there is nothing I want more to do than win. His caddy, Ted Scott, talked about him. He's like, he doesn't play for the money. He doesn't play for the trophy. He plays because he absolutely loves golf.
Yeah.
He reminds me of Bobby Jones.
Right.
And
Which is,
if that's the thing, if that's your motivating factor, that does not go away at any point.
you know, I wish was still on the PGA Tour and could play all the time. And I know some people don't like him, but he's got 5 majors. Brooks Koepka.
Do you see him at the grocery store?
Uh-huh. But, like, 5 majors, dude, like, that's a lot. That's a lot of major championships. And, you know, you don't get to see him.
Does he have a British, a Masters, 2?
Nope, he only got 2. He's got 3 PGAs and 2 U.S. Opens.
It's the U.S. Open. Oh, yeah, he was in contention in 2019.
How crazy
and
is
he
that,
got
dude?
lurked
5.
down. Yeah. I mean, he went on it. Like, that's why it's hard to put people in this conversation.
Well, here's
because-
the deal. He was number 1 in the world. Justin Thomas, number 1 in the world. Koepka, John Rahm, number 1 in the world. Scotty Scheffler, number 1 in the world for like 135 weeks.
And Tiger
Crazy.
did it for 700 weeks.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But, like, crazy. I mean, it's double digits is a lot to ask. I mean, he's at 2. He's won a lot of tournaments.
He got a new putter.
He's won the Players, I think, twice.
He's so good.
Yeah. Lost his driver in the first front 9, and all of a sudden
Doesn't matter.
figured it out. Here's my driver. Let me hit right down the middle every time.
Talk to my
for
caddy at
400
the
yards.
turn.
Yeah. From Lafayette.
Mm-hmm.
From Lafayette.
Was
He used to be an Oakbourne member.
Was he on? Whose bag did he used to be on?
Ted Scott? I don't know.
There's somebody that also won a ton. But, yeah, good for Ted Scott clearing checks.
Making some money. Making some cash. All right.
No J. Mitch?
No Jim Mitch. Is he in?
I just checked.
I know. I got,
And we can't go to Hoover.
I know. I can't go to Hoover. That stinks. You got a mistake of the day?
I do. Are you familiar with one? Speaking of golf, I guess, kind of. Are you familiar with one Jersey Jerry?
Yes.
Well, he was in charge of his baby. Baby had upset stomach, was told, don't give this baby milk, and he forgot. Baby had an upset stomach. Instead, he goes, well, if they can't have milk, maybe chocolate milk. Puts the baby on his lap. All-time vomit scenario.
Oh, is that vomit or shit?
Vomit.
That's vomit?
Yeah. Baby vomit.
That's disgusting. Makes me want to throw up.
Yeah,
Can
the
you
baby
get it off the
dead.
screen, please.
So, if you're in a relationship and they have a child and you have a child together, listen.
No chocolate milk.
Listen to what she says. They
Yeah.
probably know better than
That's
you do.
disgusting.
And this is just an all-time vomit scenario where he just wore it straight on the leg.
Honestly, I would have thrown up.
He probably, he could have, but that's an elite
That makes me
amount.
want to throw up right now.
It makes you wonder how much a baby can hold in him.
It makes me wonder why this is still on my screen. Can you please take it off of my screen?
I
Great
can, hold
mistake
on.
of the day.
Thank you.
Mistake of the day is now not you zooming in and I'm not looking at that. Please go to the next one. Curtain call. What is your curtain call?
I
Want
don't
to do
know.
a team curtain call?
I know I have one, and I wonder if it's the same. I don't know if it's a curtain call or mistake of the day, but it might be a curtain call for Paul Skenes and his career in Pittsburgh. How often can you do that?
Sell the team. Sell the team. Sell the team.
What?
Sell the team. Don't relocate the team because it's great in Pittsburgh. Sell the team. Listen. It's not even a Paul Skenes thing. You have a generational pitcher in Paul Skenes, but you also got Jared Jones when he's healthy was 100. You also got Mitch Keller who's been really good, and you also got this guy in AAA that's people are comparing him to Paul Skenes on talent wise. So you're gonna have 4 guys in your rotation that are elite. Figure it out. Sell the team. Like, do something. You can't, 8 innings pitched, 3 hits. Was it 8 strikeouts, 9 strikeouts, 1 run given up, and they lost 1-0. That's embarrassing.
And it's not the first time it's
No,
happened.
that's embarrassing.
and somebody as competitive. Like, I was of the belief that Paul doesn't have the interest in the glitz and the glam and, like, the big spotlight. Like, if I go and play somewhere and I play well and we're good, that's all that matters. But you know what that's contingent on? Winning. And they're not winning. And that's the one thing that drives him more than anything, is being able to be on a competitive team because...
Well, you heard what he said whenever Shelton got fired.
Good.
No, he didn't say good. He was like, yeah, we're 12 and
something had
27.
to happen.
Someone had to take blame for it.
Yeah, somebody's responsible for this.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's the one to like try to force himself out because he wants to be in a bigger market like baseball usually is, and I can get paid the most money. I think it's more of
he wants to win.
I want to win, and you're not giving him the opportunity to win.
He has a 2.44 ERA, a WHIP under 1, which is very good, and a 3-5 record.
Like that's so fucking frustrating.
A WHIP means you're letting on less than one guy per inning, right? Like. WHIP is, I don't know exactly what it stands for, but it translates to how many guys per inning do you let reach base, essentially. So anything one underneath is elite. He's at a .94, 2.4 ERA. And look, he's throwing, you can tell he's becoming he's not trying to get the strikeout. He can get it when he needs it, but he's going deep in games now. He's throwing less pitches, deep in games. It's just
WHIP. Walks plus hits per innings pitched.
Right. So basically, it's taken away, I think,
it's
the homer and strike. I don't know.
It's a stat that measures how many base runners a pitcher allows per inning of work, providing an indication of their efficiency and effectiveness. That's Paul Skenes.
That is exactly, yeah. So.
And you're wasting him.
Yep.
Why even draft him?
Well,
I know you have to, but it's a shame.
And if they trade him, it'll be the craziest trade. Oh, you're going to trade the franchise player, face of the organization
for what? To get more
arbitration.
To get maybe the chance that even if it is
to get more prospects to ruin
that you can't pay. Like, what's the point of having a franchise then?
Yep. I don't know. We'll see what happens. They're not going to sell a team if they need to. All right. My curtain call is to all the guys from LSU on the all conference teams, because this conference, as Jay alluded to, is better and deeper than ever. It is extremely hard to make it on these all-conference teams. Obviously, everybody wants first team, but you can't. Not everybody can have it. I believe that there's a couple guys that probably should have been first team All-SEC, and I believe one of those guys is Anthony Ianson. Like, he should have been. I mean, he had better numbers than Kay Anderson. And I'm not saying it's not discrediting Cade at all, because he had an outstanding year. But Cade gets first team All SEC. Ianson gets second team. Dickinson gets second team. Curiel second team. Curiel first team All freshman SEC. Zach Cowan first team All SEC. Everybody wants to bench Zach Cowan now. I shouldn't throw him anymore. Lose faith in him. First team All SEC.
Put that one in the hopper.
Put that one in there too. You know, you have – who else is on the All-SEC team?
It's on the screen.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Evans. That was the other one I was missing. Great representation from LSU on the all-conference teams. Obviously, it's not always about individual accolades, but when you win, those individual accolades end up happening anyway. And so congratulations to those guys. That's my curtain call to all of the first and second teamers of LSU. Yeah, that's the look of someone who's not happy. All right.
She's going to cry.
That's all we got for you on this beautiful Monday. We appreciate y'all sticking with us. We appreciate Jay Johnson. Before I go, postseason baseball is here. Come on. Postseason baseball is here. Our friends at Bocock Brothers Premium Cigars, they have been so generous in giving us a few boxes of cigars to showcase. It is postseason baseball. It is the perfect time to get you a box of these cigars, get ready for postseason play, so that whenever LSU does win and you're looking for a victory cigar, you have one. They taste really good. They come in a really nice little box. You can get a custom LSU lighter. There's multiple different lighters you can get. look, you smoke the cigars, you got a nice box for memorabilia. You can throw whatever you want in there, have it open, have the LSU in there. You got different boxes up top once the camera gets there. Right there, boom. Yeah, Bocock Brothers are really good cigars. Try them if you like them. Smoke them if you got them. If you're looking for gifts, perfect gift for clients, perfect gift for gifts for employees. If they're into that type of thing. Bocock Brothers, LSUcigars.com. Go in there, get everything you want. Use Mik'd Up 15 at the checkout as your promo code. Get 50% off your order. That's MIKDUP 15. Proud sponsors of Mik'd Up. So, enjoy your beautiful Monday. We'll see you again on Wednesday, live from 6 to 8. Hopefully Jay is in here. Maybe he's going to be talking live baseball at the tournament. We shall see. We'll have a full week of shows this week, and looking forward to talking ball with the squad and our people. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. See you on Wednesday. Peace. We don't get the thumbs up today from Jay. No fireworks.
I'll give Coach Jay a thumbs up.
Coach Jay. Always beautiful when he comes on.
Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Peace.